Okay, real life trader. So Friday afternoon, we're a little bit after 4 o'clock, right? I've got my friend Win Smitty, everybody's friend, Win Smitty, coming on to talk about advanced volume bars. So Win was the person who turned me on to them, and I've been wanting to have a one-on-one conversation with him to just pick his brain about him since he's the one who was familiar with him. But I thought, instead of just having a conversation with him, why don't I just bring him on? He can talk about it. That way we all get the benefit of Wynn's knowledge about the advanced volume bars. So what do you say, Wynn? Good with that?
I'm good. Let's
All
do it.
right. All right. So why don't you go ahead and you should have the ability now to do a screen share.
Right. I am not familiar with how to do that. I've got
So if you go to
start video. No,
so you should see the controls where you see mute, participants,
I
chat.
do.
Yep. If you go, I'm going to stop the share. If you go into that control bar, it should, right in the middle next to chat, should say share screen. You see that?
Got choose virtual background. Okay, that's all right. So under the microphone, I've got select microphone, select a speaker, test speaker, audio. Here, what do we got for more? More. Under more, we've got share screen.
There you go.
And let's do this. Okay, you see my
Look
screen
at
now?
perfect. Look at you, rock star.
Huh? How about that?
Uh
No pressure. Talk about figuring it out quick, huh?
huh. There you go. All right, so we got Win talking, and so everyone, let me pull up my chat real quick. When I switched over. Okay. Give me if everyone else would just give me one real quick in the chat, make sure you can see Wynn's screen. Beautiful. Thanks, Martina. Okay. Thanks, Al. Okay, it's all you. So cool. So this is you're using obviously using Thinkorswim for your platform.
I am. I am.
Yep.
And this is all new to me here. I now have annotate. How about that? I can even
You can
draw.
draw, you can do faces.
Oh God, don't tell me that. We'll be here all day with me doing faces. All right. All right. Yes. So what he's talking. Thank you, Stephen. What Steven's talking about is these custom volume bars. I've got a script that I imported into Thinkorswim.
Hey, Win, real quick, let me just make sure because you to me your volume dropped a little bit. Can everyone hear Win okay?
Hold on. Is
Oh,
this
that's
better?
much better.
Okay. My microphone dropped a little bit there.
Okay, no, perfect. You're good now.
All right. And let me go ahead and get this chat preview in here. Go ahead and attach that. All right. Well, I don't know how to move that to the side like the. All right. We'll just skip that. I'll have to check for questions or tell me if there's any questions, Steve, if you
Sure. Oh,
would,
yeah,
please.
I'll keep an eye on the chat.
Yeah. Yeah. As I was saying, that these are some custom volume bars that I stumbled onto a couple of years ago and started using them pretty consistently about a year ago, just so that I could watch volume flow. Actually, it was shortly after I came to RLT, I started using them because Tracy was always talking about, volume, this volume. So I started getting into, well, what's the deal with volume? And I'd like to know, how much volume is on each bar, bearish and bullish. If you'll notice that there are two colors here in each bar, and obviously red is the bearish volume, green is the bullish. But these are a new set of bars that I just found customized a little bit. Not even sure what everything is on them. if I remember correctly, if you look at the numbers here, you'll see like that's the gray number, if I remember correctly, was average volume per bar. Now, one thing to notice here, this is a 15 and 30-minute screens that we're looking at. On the left is the 15, on the right is the 30. I don't know how to get this pencil off of here, but yes, right here. Maybe Steven, you can tell me how to undo this after I do it up. Obviously, we can see what these are. This is pre-market volume down here. Was at 1.378 million. The last bar volume, the last 15-minute bar volume was 523,000. The current one is 24,802, and then the total volume on the day is 14,651. Now notice that the asset that I'm looking at here is not Tesla. This is TSLL, which is a 1.5 bull ETF. All right, so it's a leveraged ETF on Tesla. It moves at I think it's 6.5% if I remember my math on it. But back to the volume bars. If you look over here at the 30-minute, you can see it's got the same numbers as the 15 will, obviously, but you can see the bars have different volume because of the different time period on them. But to get to what the bars specifically do is that they show me in each candle how much bear volume's coming in to make up that candle. And then you'll notice at the bottom, there's a little tick on each one down here. That is showing me, I don't like that color. That is showing me what color the bar is. All right, what color it ended up. So you see this one, yellow, green, green, yellow, green, green. That's what the little ticks are at the bottom.
So would the yellow that be like a kind of a neutral?
No, yeah. Well, for my colors, yellow is bearish, green
Oh,
is
okay. Sorry.
bullish.
Yep, got it.
Yeah. So
Okay.
if you'll notice the color of the candlesticks, I use green for bullish, yellow for bearish on this screen,
Okay.
just as a preference thing. Sorry, I didn't address that
Yeah,
first,
no,
y'all.
that's all good.
So you'll notice on the indicator, those little ticks are the same. And if you customize it for your computer, obviously it'll have whatever the color is that you customize it as. And I share, Stephen, I gave you this script, right?
Yeah. Yep. And as a matter of fact, while you were talking, I actually shared the script with everybody in in the chat here.
Okay. All right. I'll go into some customization here in a second then. So what this allows me to do, I don't want to get too long-winded because I know y'all have better things to do with your life than listen to me yammer all day, but what this allows me to do is to see how the volume is flowing. All right. And I was talking about it this morning in chat, saying, the first 5 or 6 volume bars on Tesla, because it's super tricky this morning, but it went bullish volume, bearish volume, bullish volume, bearish volume, bullish volume, bearish volume. Then it picked up another one. Then all of a sudden it's super bullish. So, I mean, Tesla, even watching the volume bars, it's very hard to trade because this algo, I'm convinced that they've got my IP address in a database somewhere. and it says, I don't care if this guy puts in $1 million worth of money trading, he doesn't get a penny. All right. So I have to do some creative stuff to, make money sometimes as far as uh, using ETFs and stuff like that to trade. But nonetheless, this is really good so that you can see how the volume is flowing. All right. And the thing that I've noticed is with these volume bars, you can actually see a lot of time, and this is going to sound funky to you, so I don't want anybody, sending me any nasty emails about my aluminum helmet or anything. But I can see a lot of times when a bar starts out green, like this bar on this candle right here, this big yellow candle, you can see how big old high wave. Well, this started out very green. First thing when this did when it came out was it went way up here, then it came way down here, then it kind of settled in the middle. And as I watched it on the volume bar, it looks like here it's all green, all green, all green. It gets all the way up here, and then about 5 minutes before this 15-minute candle expires, it starts pouring on the red volume. All right. So my point is, a lot of times I can tell by the start of the candle what color the candle is going to end up being most of the time. So it means if it starts out really, really green, and on Tesla specifically, are you deleting that?
Yeah, I'm just cleaning it up as you go.
How do you do that? How are you doing that?
On the if you got to click the little annotate icon, you probably have like the pencil showing somewhere.
Uh-huh.
If you click that, it will open up it opens up a
Eraser.
little menu thing, and then there's actually a little trash can thing that I've been clicking on. It says clear all drawings.
Beautiful. Thought I was losing it. All right.
No, I've just been following behind you, and then
No, that's good.
click and clean up as you go.
Yeah, no worries. So my point is, these are very useful, not just because you can see how much bull and bear volume is, and they work on all time frames, from 1 minute up to whatever. I don't know. I haven't tried them on 30 seconds. I don't use 30 seconds for anything. I don't use anything less than 1 minute, and I don't trade off of anything less than 2 or 3 minutes. But they're useful on longer time frames because you can see how the volume is flowing, meaning a lot of times you'll see these things start out green. They'll get really green, then all of a sudden they get really red, or they'll start out red and they'll get green. So it can just show you, if you match that with the volume profile. See if I can get to this. This here. I guess my volume profile doesn't want to work today. There it is. Yeah. This is a developing volume profile, and I'm just showing you, if you kind of watch how they develop with the volume profile and the DevPoc, the developing volume profile, they can be pretty useful to show you kind of what, I don't want to say what the market makers are doing, but I guess that's actually exactly what it is, how they're filling the orders to make up the candles. All right. I know Stephen provided the script, so I'm going to go ahead and just look at a couple things with you real quick here. I also use.
Hey,
go ahead.
real quick, I'm just going to mention to everybody. So, you should see that I did post that script in the chat, and then if anybody needs, if you're not sure how to import that, just go to YouTube and just do a quick search on importing a script into Thinkorswim. It's pretty simple. Or if we have time, I could walk you through it. So if there's anybody here who is watching this live who's not sure how to import it, throw it in there in the chat, and I'll make a note of it, and I'll see if I can show you before we finish up today.
Yeah, actually, was it on this gear? There was a gear. Yeah, right up here. One of these. Yeah, we'll let Steven handle that. But one of these buttons up here, either the drives me nuts.
Yeah, one of them is a
Is
import
it under
shared item.
setup? The open shared item right
That's
here
it,
under
right there.
setup.
Yep, you
There
got
it
it.
is right
Open
there.
shared
You
item.
just open shared item, paste the URL in, and I usually click open shared item after I press import,
Yep.
and it'll populate itself. So let's go ahead and do a little customizing here. This is what I call it, the new volume script. I don't know if that came through in the script that I sent or not, but you can customize your colors right here. You got SV for cell volume, by volume. This is just volume and then volume average. If you, well, there you can see the colors. If you match up the colors here, you can see just volume in my bar right here is this 151862. That is for volume. Volume average is the gray. That's this number here, the 59119. And then the sticks themselves, you can see the by volume I've got as green, cell volume I've got as red. You can customize the inputs here, which is what we've got here. The time period 400, 929, and 50. I just left that on default. Didn't know enough about it. But that's how you customize. And then basically, you know, I can take any questions, or we can turn it back over to Steven if nobody else has got anything else, and go from here. And let me get chat open here real quick. Okay, good. I see the script there. Thank you, Steven.
Yep. So I'm just curious, does anybody have any questions for Win on that? And I'll, when I take back over, I'll just add a couple thoughts as well.
Sure.
Adam saying at Win, thank you. Good. All right.
You're welcome, Adam. I see that. Thank you.
Cool.
But see, no fair. Now you guys know what I sound like, and I still don't know what y'all sound like. So everybody type into the chat what you sound like, please.
Okay. Adam, yeah, I'll walk you through it. We'll do that. I'll walk you through how to import it and do all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely something I want to add. Cool. Yeah. No, I like it. Okay. Here, Win, I'll leave you on. I'm not gonna I'm going to take over the share. Okay. But I'm gonna leave you on here so we can keep talking about it.
Jenny said that she didn't expect me to sound like a redneck. Sorry, hon. South Carolina boy here. Grew up in Texas. Deer hunting, military veteran. So guess what?
Let's go to
blah, John Miller.
Here we go.
See you. All right. Thanks, y'all.
Okay. Well, Win,
Fun sharing with you guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave you on with me just so we can.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
All right. So cool. So everyone, just make sure you should be looking at my chart of Google now, right?
Yep.
Okay. So what I was going to say, what's interesting is, especially when you get into these, and I've mentioned, right? I've talked about let's see if I can find a good example. Let me go into, I'm using this a lot on the, here's the 1 hour, here's the 30-minute, right? And then also I have it on the 15-minute here. But there are, let's see. Okay, here's a decent example. Okay, but see this, and I'll look for another one. But see this hammer here. Hang on 1 second. All right, sorry about that.
Hey, Steven, real quick, I just
Yeah.
want to make sure everybody knows that your screen got real small. 'Cause it's got a picture of Dan Jansen and my empty box and yours. Anybody that doesn't know, as I'm sure most of you do, there is a line in the middle there. If you can grab that and drag it to the right to minimize those pictures and increase the screen size. I had to do that. You may have to too, so you can see his screen good or
Okay.
well.
Can everybody see my screen pretty well here? The chart of
I'm
Google?
good. I can.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Mine, maybe yours did. All right. So maybe it was just Win. Maybe it's just his computer. But what I want to point out to you, okay, I've talked about this a lot, right? And this is a pretty cool thing. Oh, Adam did figure out how to turn it on. Perfect. Cool. This is a pretty good example. I'll see if I can find a better one. But here's when I talk about the looking for a hammer candle at the bottom of a move. Now, granted, this is a quick example I just found. It's not the perfect example because ideally, as you know, I'm looking for big volume, right? I'm looking for a big, but when you look at this, and I've talked about how I go, look, when it comes to a hammer candle at the bottom of I don't care if it's red, green, black, white, yellow, purple. It doesn't, the color to me doesn't matter because, right? People will look at this, go, well, it's a bearish candle, right? Well, why? Because it's red, and just because technically, technically it's bearish because it's a red candle. But look down here at this advanced volume bar, right? You can clearly see now, again, this is not a great example because it wasn't a volume spike, but I'll see if I can find one. But you can clearly see that on this candle, right, even though it's bearish, look, there's more bullish volume than there is bearish volume, right? And that is one of the things I like about this indicator is that it just helps to strengthen my own feeling about when I see a hammer candle, right? Even if it's bearish, if it's a hammer candle at the bottom of a move with volume, even though it's a red candle, that's bullish to me. Let me see if I can find let me go to different chart here. Let me go to let's go to Tesla and see if we can find a better example. I did notice that this week there wasn't a ton of these setups that well, this was a bullish candle anyway. Specifically looking for, let me go back a little bit in time. Trying to find a really good example, but and if I can't, I mean, I think you get the idea that even though it's a bearish candle, right, technically, but when you look at those advanced volume bars, it will clearly show you that, yeah, it was bearish in color, right? But it was actually a very bullish candle when you look at the volume, right? Again, I'm looking for specifically a really good hammer candle. Let me just go to NVIDIA real quick. And if I can't find it, I'll give up. But there we go. Okay, here. Pretty good example, right? You can look at that, and most people go, well, it's a bearish candle, right? But look at the advanced volume profile down here, the advanced volume bar, I should say. You can clearly see that there's more bullish volume here than there's bearish, even though it's a red candle, right? So, and then look what happened. Boom, right? Hammer candle, and again, this is not your perfect hammer candle. The body's a little bit bigger than I would normally look for, but it's still a hammer candle, right? Bottom of the move, and you get this. Notice how volume was dropping off from starting here on this candle, right? Volume is dropping off, dropping off, dropping off, and then suddenly you get a volume spike here. And then what happened? Off you go, right? But this is one of the things I do like about it. It just reinforces and helps you to identify that, hey, this is actually a bullish candle, not a bearish candle, right? And you would see the same thing at the top of a move. I'll see if I can find anything that shows a yeah. So look, if I zoom in here, right? This candle here. Look at that. So again, so here we get double top, shooting star, right? Again, not a great example in terms of the volume spike, but you get the idea. But look at this candle and look down here. The bearish volume is greater than the bullish volume. So kind of a cool, yeah. So Adam's saying great for validation and for setting up better risk reward. Yeah, for sure. Right. So that is one of the things I do like about this. And again, I want to, thank Win for being the one that, because I didn't know that these existed. And then he gave me the information. Here's a pretty good, another one right here, right? This candle, right? Bearish hammer candle, but look at the volume. One thing I also would point out, let me zoom out of here. Let me go into a smaller time frame. Okay. The other thing, if you go into your settings here, hey, Win, you might know the answer to this. Jenny's asking, is there a similar one in TradingView?
I haven't been able to find, excuse me, I haven't been able to find one. I traded multiple brokers as well, and I haven't found it anywhere except Thinkorswim. I'd also like to have one for Tasty Trade Fidelity, but I have not found one for either of those, nor have I for TradingView.
Got it. Okay.
If somebody does find it though, or stumble across it, because I know there are people out there that,
Yeah,
like
and I know that
me, kind of troll around for this kind of stuff. I'd love to know about it.
And I know that the RLT community, it's funny because we're pretty split in terms of those who use TradingView, those who use Thinkorswim, and again, not that one's better than the other. It's just what you're used to. And I started out using Thinkorswim for my charting, so I'm just more accustomed to it. So, but hey, Jenny, you could also, obviously just Google it and see if Google advanced volume bars for TradingView. If it's out there, you'll see it. The other thing I just want to mention to you is if you go again into these settings here that Win had pointed out before, if I go in the edit, right? So the volume average, right? And I don't know if you touched on this, but anyway, that's the other thing here is if you have this plotted, like I have it here, and I think you have it on your chart too, but whatever color you choose here. But the cool thing about that is that as you are looking at price developing, right? Let's say, and you are, this is that line right here, right? So if that line represents the average volume, right? And then you see a candle like that, that you're getting 2 times the average volume on that candle. So that's just the other thing I want to point out is that having that line in there again, which, it's just the volume average here, you choose whatever color you want, right? And make sure you plot it, but just a good quick eye reference, right? To see, how does the volume on that particular candle, how does it compare to the average? And what's certainly interesting is on candles, like especially like small candles like this, right? And again, it makes sense here because it was the end of the day, right? But when you see a small indecision candle with like greater than average volume, you got to wonder, okay, it should catch your attention. You'd be like, all right, something's going on here. Why is How do you load in your screen? Okay. So Cindy, how do you load the um did you already import the script? Okay, if you imported it, right? So all you do is right click anywhere on the screen here, right? And you're going to go studies, edit studies. And now I already have it here, right? But if I didn't have it here, what I would do is, so again, just right click anywhere on the screen, go to studies, edit studies, go over here, and then whatever you called it, I called it advanced volume bars, right? So here's what I called it.
Yeah, and my script that I sent you, I don't know if that's the one you shared or not, but the one that I shared was called New Volume 2023.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You can name it whatever. Okay, Adam, have a great weekend.
Thanks,
Adam's
Adam.
taking
Have a
off.
good weekend.
Yeah, I mean, you can name it whatever you want. That's kind of the cool thing about these scripts is like you could import it as, like again, when called it, I changed it to advanced volume bars, right? Just because that's, was easier for me to remember. But so Cindy, whatever you called it, maybe you called it advanced volume bars. And then here, if you just click that and then say add selected, it will add it here, right? And and then hopefully it adds it to this section that says lower, right? And if for whatever reason, let's say it dropped it here where volume is, right? If it went there and if it didn't work, you just drag it into where it says lower, and there it's down at the bottom there.
Yeah, and if you have a problem with what just happened with Steven there, where it just disappears and you can't figure it out and you can't drag it, go into the settings on your charts and make sure that add volume subgraph is not selected or is selected, depending on which profile makes it work for you, which option makes it work for you.
Right. That's right here. Right here.
Yep.
That's show price.
Actually, look under equities.
There you go.
Show volume subgraph. If that's checked,
If it's either checked or unchecked. I have mine unchecked.
Yeah.
Yep. So you can just play around with that. Cindy, were you able to get that up on the screen? Cool. Good.
Beautiful.
Excellent. Cool. All right, let me show you. Let's see, we got 20 minutes left. Let's go and let's take a look at I was looking at Tesla yesterday. And let's go in. So 15-minute, 5-minute. Okay, we're good. So Tesla yesterday, right? It was really quite frustrating because it was like, okay, let's go long, let's go short, let's go long, let's go short. And I remember right at the time here when Albert saying, I've recently tried to use Thinkorswim. One thing I miss a lot is developing VPOC. I'm sure. So all right, so Albert, I don't know if this helps you or not, okay, but so here, okay, let me just go into right here. So here's my on Thinkorswim, right? So here's my volume profile, right? You can see that. So the way I have mine set up is that this is my developing volume VPOC, right? This is the point of control, right? And when you say developing VPOC, maybe we're talking two different things, but for me, when I say developing, like this will actively, move, right? So as again, this is a 5-minute chart, but as prices is changing, right? Like volume profile, this point of control might be down here. And, when I think of developing, right, it's when it moves, right? That's how I refer to it as developing, right? So if volume, if the point of control is here and price is moving up and suddenly the point of control moves up with it, right? To me, that's the developing volume point of control. I don't know if that's the same thing that you're referring to, right? Now, I also don't have, if I go to my daily chart, right? If you notice here, I don't have it on my daily chart. Let me go into a clean chart. It doesn't have all these lines, right? If you look at like Microsoft here, right? I don't have that developing, or I'm not using point of control on the daily chart. Yeah. So you're saying in trading view, it could be drawn like a stair step line on the chart. Yeah. Oh, Jenny's saying, okay, trading view, buy, sell volume bars. Is that's what Jenny's, I think, is saying is similar to what we're talking about here for Thinkorswim. Cool. Okay, similar. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So if anybody here is just dedicated to using, no, you're good. No, I mean that's
Thank
why
you.
we're
That's
here, Jenny.
great.
If anybody here is dedicated to just trading view, so Jenny's saying it's buy sell volume bars by Reiki. Is that
Rauki.
right?
I see Rauki.
Rauki.
Bless you.
So cool. That's great. So very similar. Okay, good. Yeah. So let me go back to what I was going to throw out there about Tesla yesterday. So Tesla yesterday, kind of frustrating, right? Actually, give me a second. Okay. Here was where we were yesterday. So Dan was on the mic, and let's see. I think I'm trying to remember exactly how, and Dan, maybe if you're still listening, maybe you can chime in. I'm pretty sure that you all were short on Tesla through here. And then at some point, I think Jeremy was short as well. And then if I remember correctly, this candle came in, and then I think Jeremy was talking about flipping the trade and looking to go bullish, right in here. It was something like that. I don't remember exactly but I just remember at the time I was looking at this and thinking to myself, right, and this was right around that time, 10:30 is that time frame where I'm looking for reversal, and that made sense, right? I was looking at this and I thought, okay, well, Tesla, sold off, and this, would be a great area here for a trap, right? Price gets down below the initial 5-minute candle here, and then we get this, and then we get this big candle. I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe it is, and again, if I'm remembering correctly, I think the room was short, so was Jeremy, but then when this came in, Jeremy was talking about flipping. Something like that. But at the time when that was happening, 10:25, so it must have been like right in here, right? Anyway, I was looking at this, and then this candle came in, and then price came back down, right? Like this. And after this came in and then price rolled back down, it's like, nope, it's still short. And I remember looking at it, and I think at some point that would have been right in here. Let me zoom out a little bit. Yeah, it was right when this candle came in at 10:25, and obviously that looked like a very strong candle. And I think that's when, again, let me just hide some of this. That's when I think Jeremy threw out in the Slack about maybe flipping the position, right? and 1025 and 1025, I'm looking at these candles here, and I was also looking at this, right? And so again, at that point, I'm thinking this is the time that I normally do look for a reversal. But by going to the higher time frame, right? And again, this is just another example of, yeah, okay, trade on the 3 minute, trade on the 5 minute, but don't forget to look at your higher time frames, at 15 minute, the 30 minute, depending on the time of day. But when I saw this come in, I was like, but at 1025, that candle was here, right? And I'm looking at that, I'm going, so at that point, I kind of looked at this. I said, you know what? I'm not ready to flip this and go long yet, right? Because what I did was I was looking at this on the 15-minute chart, and I thought, okay, and it would make sense, right? If you saw this and you go, okay, hammer candle followed by another hammer, clearly some strong support down here. What I then was looking at was, I'm going to need a close above, and this is where then I start defaulting to the higher time frame, because there was just too much chop down here, right? There was just too much going on down here in terms of price action that I couldn't really get a clear idea at this point of whether I should be looking to go short or long. And so I was looking at the 15-minute at that time going, okay, well, I'm not going to even think about going long yet through here unless I get a close above this level, right? And so at the time, so this candle was between 1015 and 1030. So that 1025 candle was, right in here. And then when that closed, I was like, and then of course, when that closed was when this candle closed. Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, when that closed, I'm like, yeah, but you know what? It's still struggling with that level right there. And so I didn't go long here. I waited. And then I was just, and I'm glad I did, because at that point, right now, granted, I wouldn't have got triggered in anyway, because price didn't even get above that level, right? So there wasn't even a trap here. It just, rolled down, right? But looking at that higher time frame here is, and relying on this was looking at just going, okay, clearly this is a level, because the level that it was struggling with here to go bullish was basically the close of this candle, right? The bottom of the body right here is what it was struggling with. So I just decided to be patient, right? And then I ended up having to leave to go to an appointment. So I didn't even get into this trade. But if you look at then how now on the 5-minute, it did not give me a great looking setup here, right? This was clearly the bounce area. But again, sometimes, right? Sometimes I find that that if I'm getting a lot of chop, which is what was happening here, that I will just completely forget about trade. And even though it's early in the day, if I'm getting that kind of chop, I might just kind of forget the lower time frames, the 3-minute, the 5-minute, and just focus on the 15-minute, because this really didn't give you a clear picture, right? At least for me, what I look for, right? When I say that I'm looking for that hammer at the bottom of a move with volume, right? I'm not really seeing it here on the 5-minute, but if I simply just referred to and deferred to trading off the 15, here's the hammer, right? And if you look, and that clearly was the time to go long on Tesla. I'm trying to remember. I think Sima posted in Tesla yesterday, or was it Meta? I'm forgetting now. But anyway, this was the time to go long, right? On Tesla. This candle here. Again, through here, I can't really look at this and go, yeah, I'm definitely thinking long, except, okay, maybe after this candle and you finally got the close here, right? But when I look at these candles, like if I rely so much on seeing that hammer at the bottom of the move, that if I don't see it here on the 5-minute chart, but I see it here on the 15-minute chart, boom, I'll set this up on even though I might be watching the smaller time frames, I'll put my setup here on the 15-minute, right? And so let me zoom in here a little bit. So when I'm looking for this, I go, okay, well, hammer candle. And as most of you know, I don't take breakouts and breakdowns. Again, I've started doing a little bit more of it recently, but for the most part, I wait for the close above the hammer, which happened here. And then I set up my limit buy, right? And this is a great example of how that works, because here's the hammer, right? So I could, a lot of people would just go, okay, well, I'm going to simply just bracket this hammer. I'm going to take a break above it. And then, with stop down here. And what happens more often than not is you get that, you get that entry here, you get that bull trap, that wick up, triggers everyone in, and then it rolls down, and then it hits everyone's stop, right? You've seen it time and time again. So this is a pretty good example of, my typical approach to trading, which is I will wait for, I need a close above these candles here, right? Definitely this candle. If I can get, even better, if I can get, if this candle can give me a close above this candle and a close above the body, if not the whole candle, even better, right? That, to me, this 3-bar reversal is beautiful, right? I look for that. And then if I get that close above this level that I need, right? Because it's obvious that here, right? This level right here was providing the support all through these 2 candles. Again, we're on a 15-minute chart. This line was providing the support. Then here, it held again, right? Yeah, it penetrated it, but it held. And then it temporarily broke through. And then as long as I get it closed back above this level, right? Which happened here, and it was a close above, obviously, this hammer and this candle, then I can throw in my limit buy. And, and if I'm looking at this, oftentimes what I'll do is my entry probably would have been a little bit lower on this. I don't know if I would have gone this aggressive, but somewhere in this area here, right? Somewhere, I don't like to go necessarily right on top of the candle, because then why wouldn't I just take the breakout? But if I had thrown in, well, maybe I would have gone in here, right? Somewhere right in here. Here's a great example of the type of candle where you get, that lower wick that triggers you in, and you get that perfect entry, right? Again, is it that big a difference? Well, I don't know. It's, it's 257. If your entry was 257.72, and down here you got in at 257, 40, let's say, it's, 30 cents. Every little bit helps, right? But this is a great example of the type of trade I normally take, where I let this candle show me the confirmation that, yeah, this reversal is ready to happen now. Again, this was, I would have preferred to see a greater, if you look here, right? This was just average volume, right? Here's the line that tells me average volume. Right? Ideally, I would have liked to see a volume spike here, right? Because as volume was decreasing here, volume was kind of flat. I would have preferred to see the volume extend back up into this range here. But that being what it is, still a pretty good look and example of how then you let this candle close, give you that confirmation, throw in your limit buy here, and then when you get wicked in here, right? If this comes down here, wicks you in and closes up here, well, as soon as this candle comes in, my stop is going right here. And immediately I am mitigating my risk, right, to a very, very small loss. Because the idea here is, when you get triggered in on this kind of a candle here, price should not get back below that, right? If this truly is going to make that strong move or make that move bullish, right? If this is a reversal, to me, if I get wicked in on that kind of an entry, price should not get back below there, right? I don't want to see price get back below there. And if it does, and I get stopped out for a small loss here, okay, I can always get back in. But that's always this is kind of my ideal trigger right here, get triggered in on that kind of a lower wick, and then see price move away. And I can immediately move my stop here. And then, and then you can start applying that 5-minute 2-bar trailing stop, right? So if you go over to the 5-minute here, you would have got triggered in here, right? That would have been the candle that triggered you in. And then boom, this candle comes in, right? You can see it here. Price really shouldn't get back down here. So as soon as this candle comes in, I can go right there with my stop. And now I'm just waiting to get a close above here, right? Where I can start using that 2-bar trailing stop. I probably would have waited for this candle to come in, right? And then once that came in, I would have moved my stop probably here. And then that quickly, I'm at either break in or slightly profitable. And then I can just keep using that 5-minute 2-bar trailing stop. Albert says, looking at this Tesla intraday trade chart, I wonder, as professional trader like yourself, how do you fight off FOMO, walk away, or simply discipline and follow? Oh, Albert, you mean really, Albert, for me, it's not even a matter of FOMO. That's why, I'm just so used to relying on the higher time frames, right? Again, for me, I'm looking for my 5-minute, my 15-minute, my 30-minute, certainly later in the day, to all be in alignment, right? So if I don't see that, there's no FOMO, right? Because if that's kind of my mindset, that I need to see those charts all in alignment, right? There really isn't any FOMO because I know what I'm looking for, right? And if I don't see what I'm looking for, then it doesn't meet my trading plan. So therefore, I'm not going to get FOMO. And and so that's I don't know if that addresses it clearly for you, but for me, okay, it does. Good. Yeah. So for me, the FOMO doesn't exist because I'm following my trading plan and my trading style. And if the price action doesn't match up with that, I'm okay with that. There is no FOMO. Right. And I guess then the other thing is, in terms of FOMO, is just simply just being willing to accept that, sometimes you just miss a trade. Right. All right. 5 o'clock. I see that Robert Thompson is here. Let me stop the recording. I want to thank everybody here for being with me in the last 2 hours. I think we covered a lot. I think it was helpful. I'll post these recordings in Slack. So if you want to go back and rewatch them, and hope everyone has a great weekend. Thanks for being with me. And again, thank you very much to Win for coming on, talking about those advanced volume bars. Appreciate that.
Enjoyed it. Everybody have a great weekend. Thank you.
All right.